Aspiring to study abroad for your post-secondary or postgraduate studies? Stand a chance to win a $1,000 or $500 tuition fee scholarship. Attend the Harvest Field Education Virtual Fair on Saturday, the 1st of May from 4 to 8 p.m. West Africa time. Meet reps from top institutions in Canada, the UK, Ireland, and the USA. Chat, download their materials, and upload your credentials for immediate assessment. Access is free, but registration is compulsory. Visit harvestfieldedu.vfairs.com to register now. You will receive a confirmation email with your login details to join us from the comfort of your home. Harvest Field Education Services, your best guide to studying abroad. Email harvestfieldedu@yahoo.com.
Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to this other edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. As tradition demands, on Fridays we are supposed to look at how to make our financial and economic situations better at the individual as well as the community levels. This day we are going to be looking at the journey of entrepreneurship, using the case of Mr. Teke Samuel as an example. We are going to be finding out how he became who he is today, what were the hurdles he overcame, and how he is surviving, because it's not about getting to a point, it's also about sustaining where you are. We are going to be discussing this with himself, who is still to join us in the studios out here, but we are already in the company of Mr. Buji Liansin. We are glad to have you.
It's always a pleasure being on My Media Prime. So
okay.
We are looking at an exciting example today. I'm very excited because we will be sharing the stage with a great man, somebody who has traveled the journey before us, and he knows the way, and he will be giving us an inspiring story, because every entrepreneur has a story. Before the glory, there is a story behind it.
Okay. We also are in the company of Mr. Niba. How are you? Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, televiewers who are over there in Bamenda, in Boya, in Kumba. Today is going to be another exciting day. It's always a pleasure for me to be on the Prime Hour, and I look forward to sharing ideas with you, as well as you are going to be dishing out your own support out there. We are certainly going to have an exciting evening, because we are going to look at the parcours of Mr. Teke Samuel, who happens to be the role model of young people now in
Founder,
Cameroun.
CEO of Tex Global.
Of Tex Global, and groups of companies. Of course, there are several companies under him, and more are still growing. We know of the seed venture that is going to be gearing at tutoring young entrepreneurs who have ideas but can't grow them because of finance. I mean, a lot of companies are coming under him, and certainly his story up to now and the way he's going from here is going to inspire so many of us. So stay put, and we are going to have such an exciting evening.
We are expecting the arrival in two of our studios of Mr. Teke. He's caught in traffic. We hope that in the next minutes he's going to be joining us here. But before we talk about Mr. Teke's story, can you guys tell me about your stories?
Of course,
yes.
Every entrepreneur has a story, as I said. I started entrepreneurship when I was in secondary school.
Okay.
Yes, I usually sell this what radio you call Walkman. Like that was for the big boys. When I realized that if I could sell my own, I always buy one, I use and I sell, just like that. I realized I was making a profit from it. So I started thinking about what if I could increase this. So when I actually left high school, one thing was in mind. Everybody went looking for a job. I actually wrote the police. You know how all of us want to be at the time. You feel like if you're not the military man, there is actually you are
people won't respect you.
People won't respect you. There are some of us that people were in school say, when I will be a military man, I will teach the teacher a lesson. So those were the type of things I was looking at. But before, when I wrote, I actually wrote. I had an experience when we wrote the police concours. Precisely, I remember that they were taking less than 10,000 persons, but the number of people who wrote the police concours, like in the central route in Bamenda, there were about 30-something thousand people who wrote. And imagine for that particular category, you had only 5,000 people that they were taking. I had the Grand Nord where over 200,000 persons. The central region, you had about 100 persons there. Over 500,000 people wrote, and exams that needed only 5,000 persons. Now I started asking myself the question that even if the government decided to be so good, they cannot employ everybody. So somebody needed to do something. From then now I realized that there was a trend, there was this particular field that was coming up, which was ICT. So I said, instead of me going to the university to go and study history, to go and study literature that I was very good in fact I was very good in the arts, but I decided that I was not going to continue with that because I was not seeing a future in it. I was seeing a future in the information and communication sector. With that, I actually have to put down a year to do vocational training as an executive secretary. So with the knowledge as a language student, it was very easy for me to integrate. I started working, but within that time I already have the notion that I have to be solving problems for people's IT solutions. So with that, I knew going to a government institution at that time, they always demand for maths, but coming from the arts background, it was not possible for me. Mm-hmm. But I took it, this was not going to be an impossibility. Mm-hmm. So I did the ICT at a vocational training level. Then, after a while, I had to go to a private university, a polytechnic, that's IUB. With that, at least, with polytechnics, it's about you having the money. The fees are very high, but the government subsidizes its own, but they have very tough conditions of entry. So with that, I've saved over 9 different organizations. And right now with Text Global, which is more actually the destination that I wanted to be, and looking up to a great visionary like Mr. Teke, somebody who has traveled the journey. He always tells us that.
Okay, so if I get you, you got this this whole notion from secondary school when you started. Yes.
From secondary school, I started looking.
Yeah, but even when you started selling Walkman, you still thought that you should be a policeman, eh?
Yeah,
it's just because it did not work out.
Yeah, it's just.
It means that if you had succeeded, you would not be talking tough, you know.
Of course, maybe something would have changed my mind because I'm thinking about the level of personal development or the encounters that I've had, even if I did not do that. But what actually changed the whole perspective, what I forgot about the public sector, was network marketing.
Okay, yes, Mr. Nibas. Certainly, today you talk to many persons in seminars, workshops, and other fora. Yeah. But you are coming from somewhere.
Yes, Mr.
Primary school, secondary school.
Yeah, I come from very far, very, very far. I come from a family of 7. Let me say, I started selling at the age of 5 before I went to class 1 in primary school. So selling has always been my thing.
Class 5?
Yes, I started selling at the age of 5.
Age of 5?
Before I went to primary school. Yeah. You call it child's level. To me, I see it like a good experience. You know, from there I went to primary school, secondary school. I studied accounting, and it was a tough journey. You know, I come from that family where you had to hold family meetings to raise the school fee. They need to say, this person bring this, and you know, so that pushed me to work very hard. I had to always assist my mother in selling, farming, and stuff like that. Right up to the university, I was a sales guy. I was always selling books. Till today, I still sell books. You know, I had to actually sell books to support myself here in Douala. And through year 1, year 2, a friend of mine organized extra classes, and they were teaching us when we were in year 2. And when I had my HND too, I started teaching too. You know, he handed over the classes to me, and then I started teaching. I got a classmate too, so we started teaching, and that's how I would raise money. And with the support of my family, I paid for my degree, and I went to the degree. I employed other 2 classmates, and we were all teaching together. So we were 4 of us it was not when I say extra classes. It was just an incomplete building here in Douala with benches that we took from we bought from a structure.
You were teaching and going to school.
Yes.
Yes, because many persons will say, "I've not gone to school because my parents did not," but you saw the need to go to school, and since there was no means, you had to go the extra learn to be teaching, to raise money to get to where you are today.
Yes, certainly. Certainly, when I had my HND, my parents said they have done theirs, and actually they had tried. I mean, it's a long journey. Sometimes I wish I could paint the picture physically so that you can see actually what I went through. They said they have done theirs, but to me, I could not go to the university, and then I leave just with the HND without having a degree. So I left. I mean, I came back to Douala. I told them that I was to go to school. So before the first semester started, I had raised some money. So I went and registered myself. And then before the first installment, I called them and said I had some money again, and then they had no choice than to join me in the journey. So that's how I fought with the help of a friend that I respect so much, Chang Belinda. If she's listening out, she's watching out there, hi to her. She supported me so much because we're teaching together. She had to leave me with her own money, you know, so that I used the whole money that we were getting from the classes to pay my school fees, and then I later on paid her. So it was such a long journey. But I mean, the classes already was being very productive, you know, we're making money there, but the job mentality did not keep me there. At one point in time, I dropped it. I left it with some guys that I taught, and they passed very well in the HND. So I left the classes with them. I went for a job in Aqua, you know, for a job of 50K per month, which normally in my classes I was making more than that in a month. But since in my mind, I have always wanted to sit in that office, in that rolling chair with, you know, with air condition, I went there. But when I went there, after 2 months, my computer got bad. I called my friend and to come and repair it. He knew how to repair it. He came and repaired the computer so fast. They were supposed to pay him 20,000, but he finally went home with 8,000. It was such an argument. And then when I was going to see him, we were so angry. That's when the idea started coming that we could create something for ourselves. So we decided there and there that we were going to start contributing money. So we got other 4 guys, and we were 6 of us. We contributed money. That was from 2013 to 2016, where we engaged in the business, but we engaged foolishly because we did not have the knowledge in business. We got into business without really studying it. So
that's also part of it now.
Yeah. So
they falling and rising.
So we called the business Ken Ventures. It was we took our names and joined to come up with that name. So it ran just for 6 months, and since we had less experience in the field, that money just disappeared overnight. So we still there. I wasn't. In fact, the hunger was there. I moved from one job. Actually, my first job I worked there only for 8 months. I moved to the second job, and then the second job I worked for 3 years, and then I moved to another job where I worked for 4 years. But the last job where I was in the bank where I worked for 4 years, it wasn't easy. The hunger to do more was eating me up because 2016, my eyes really got opened. I started getting exposure to knowledge. I started meeting people who were enhanced, who were opening my eyes to see that actually I could create impact in my community. You know, back there in the bank, it became so difficult that during my breaks I wasn't going for food. You know, during break I will have to I arranged with a couple of universities there in Bonaveri, where during break I'll rush there and start telling the students, you know, so many graduates are out there looking for jobs and they don't have it, and all of us cannot be looking for jobs. You should start thinking of giving yourself an extra something, or searching your skills.
Yeah, from every education, Mr. Mr. Buji, we are talking about your stories. You said you started touching money in secondary school in the sales of headsets.
Yeah, Walkmans. These radios that used small cassettes.
Walkman. Yes.
Walkman. So.
And but you tried to get a job as a policeman. Yeah, and,
I tried as a teacher too.
Yeah, but when you look at what is happening, how would you have been if you were today working for a job that you are paid maybe 150,000 francs? That's a salary style of life. Would you be fulfilled?
No, I won't have been fulfilled, because working for salary is one of the most challenging things that could definitely happen to me. I've worked for salary for over 5 years, and there was a time that I doubled the jobs. I had 4 jobs at the same time as a secretary to a religious organization. I worked as an assistant manager. I've worked as a secretary to a teacher training college. I've definitely worked as a teacher. I've trained and I've taught in schools. I always tell people that I've taught every class from secondary school right to the university, right to master's degree students. And it was not because actually I was more educated than those people, but because what I knew, nobody out there could actually deliver it better than I do. So I always advise youths that if you want to do something, be best in what you do. Do it in such a way that people will come to you. So you have excellence, mastery. So one of the highest ways that in my journey as an entrepreneur, it will be the ability for me to teach myself, to educate myself, to learn the things that society needs so that I will be able to deliver in time and effectively. And that's what kept me ahead in my journey every time. And I always tell people that in this world today, it is not the amount of certificates that you have. I just mentioned that I've worked in 9 different organizations, but none of them have I ever deposited a CV that I want to come and work here. It's what I do, the results speak, and I have recommendations and so on.
9 jobs.
I just mentioned.
And you were still not fulfilled.
No, with jobs, I was not fulfilled. So if you give me a job today, then you tell me that I'm not supposed to be a problem solver that I am as an entrepreneur, then definitely that's where we are going to part ways.
Okay, we have just been joined by Mr. Teke Samuel. We are talking about his story today. Mr. Teke, we're glad to have you with us this evening.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be here. It's been a while. It's like a month plus now.
Maybe we may have to hire, or you may have to buy a helicopter so that you can fly from Boya to without going through the hurdles, because you came there because of.
And come to Douala.
No. But okay.
The helicopter will go.
Yeah, Mr. Teke, we this evening are talking about your story, the journey of an entrepreneurship. Yes, tell us, where did you start? He says he started selling in 5 years. 5 years.
Yes.
He says he started selling Walkman secondary school. When did you start, Mr. Teke?
I think I'm one of those persons that can say that some entrepreneurs are born. Yes, I think I was born as one. In the sense that while I was growing up as a child, unconsciously I have this need of solving a problem. My family was broke. My family was very, very broke. So I had this natural need of solving a problem for myself and for my family. So while I was still in primary school, in the village, I always, when I come back from school, I go to a nearby town that's close to the village. I buy kerosene, and then come back in the evening. You know, in the villages we use lamps, those lantern.
Where was that?
Kumbe Yongo in Bamso subdivision. It's very remote. Most people don't know. You have to get to Kumba, you get down, pass through Bole, until you get to Mbonge, then you now pass Mbonge, then get to the village. So buy kerosene, and then in the evening, you just put your kerosene, and then you move around, measure them in bottles. So you can buy like 5 liters. Because you measure them in bottles, these beer bottles, Buford bottles.
I saw kerosene.
Yes. So you saw kerosene.
I saw kerosene.
So carry it on your head, you move around, and then kerosene, then they call you sir, and all of that. So I started from there because I needed to go to school, and my parents were not doing well financially, so I had to support myself. I needed money for break and all of that, and that's how the whole thing started until I grew up seeing myself trying to solve a problem for myself, getting involved into small businesses, selling things. And even when I was in boarding school, I was a businessman in boarding school. I would say I would scale the fence, go to town, buy arrow. There's a place in Fiango, a woman that says, so they call it Mami 430. I'll buy arrow from there, come to school, sell it. I would buy it like 2,000, come sell for like 5,000, and I make money for myself because I had nobody that would visit me in school. I actually struggled to send myself to a boarding school so I can get the best of education, because that was the information we have. And the whole year, nobody visits me in school. So during visits, what I do is I either scale the fence or take permission to go home, because I don't want that pains of parents coming in and then nobody's coming to visit you. Then I'll pretend to be sick, then I'll go home, or I'll just stay in the dorm, or I scale the fence, go buy arrow, because in the evening, after all of that celebration, parents come in, they will still have to come eat for an arrow. That was like salad in school. So that's what I was doing, and it was...
Why I asked the village is also to relate where you are today and where you are coming from.
Okay.
To say that the entrepreneurship journey could start from anywhere. You do not need to be in a town or from a wealthy background before you succeed.
Like what I always say, I don't think location shouldn't be a problem. Your location for success is in your mind. And fortunately for some people, God really have mercy for certain people. There's some people that the mercy of God in their life is more, and He helps you. There's what I call unconscious competence. God helps you at an early age to begin to do those things unconsciously. You are doing certain things, so all you needed is just someone to tell you, hey, come on, just go ahead, and this is the way, and you get it right. But if you don't have that person, if God doesn't direct you to that person on time, you might miss it out. But every one of us, wherever you're coming from, there's this unconscious competence, which is a kind of grace from the universe that fall upon you and tell you, this thing you're doing, this is where you're supposed to go to. And that's what actually worked for him. Probably God had mercy and saw the family. I was coming from a family of 12 children, and everybody was broke and there was no money, and someone had to survive. I was supposed to be this person, and if God had just allowed me like every other person in my family, probably I would have been in the village doing farming. Maybe I would have given birth to like 50 children, because my parents had 12 children, so maybe would have been doing that kind of competition.
Now, Mr. Teke, you call the name Ikombe Lyongo in Bamuso subdivision.
Yes.
Yeah, Bamuso is a subdivision, it's Indian division.
Indian division, sure.
Yes. You grew up there.
Yes.
And felt the need to get out of this. What struck your mind? Was it the fact that nobody was succeeding, or you saw others living well and you thought that you should bring your family out of that condition?
Well, naturally, in the village, it wasn't a problem.
Okay.
Living average, below average was a normal thing. Everybody was like that. But there was a particular family. I think that family, that's what the chief was there. That's the chief's family. The chief worked in one company they call Pamo. So they came out. These people that work in estates in Pamo.
My father works with Pamo.
Yes, so he was maybe an accountant or something. So he came out as the wealthy class. Then they made him the chief. Then they mandated the entire village to vote for this chief to become a parliamentarian. Like the heat drum, when we were small, the heat drum that everybody must vote for our chief to be a parliamentarian. So they voted for the chief, was a parliamentarian. There's another family that was, the father was a mayor, the man was a mayor. So these are the two people everybody was looking up to as a wealthy class in the village. Now, some of us had it hard from this family. I remember one of these days I was going to town to go and buy my kerosene, as usual in the town of Kombonge, and these guys, they had a Carina too then. And they were passing and they saw me, and and they stopped to carry me, but I was asked to remove my slippers. So I'm saying this on air. But I was asked to remove my slippers and then get in the car so I don't dirty the car. But unconsciously, I felt so bad and embarrassed. And I said to myself that I must buy a car. Within me, I said I must buy a car. I had to make friends with one of that man's sons. I think he's one of the nicest person I've known so far. I made friends with him, and I started learning how to drive. I will earn a little money, I will buy petrol, I will follow him. This will happen. I will have to walk from my house, pass through their house, go and wait for him towards the end of the village. So he would drive the car, come there, carry me, we'll go to CDC. It's a camp. I'll wash the car. That's the sacrifice I will make. So he'll carry me, we'll go, I'll learn how to drive, we'll come back, I'll have to wash the entire car to come back. So that was the sacrifice I made. Not knowing how I'm going to buy a car, because my dad doesn't even have a bicycle. But I said I'm going to buy a car. Then I started learning how to drive at a very tender age. I learned how to drive. I was building something. Then this other male person, he was close to our house. We needed to watch TV. When they put Nigerian movies in the evenings, I would go there to go and watch. So before you could watch TV, you have to go to this house, wash plates, clean the house. We'll walk for these people. Then the evening they'll put on the generator, put on their TV. We'll sit there to watch. Now, you will not sit on their chair. If they too love you, you sit on the floor. Sometimes before you come, because they'll ask you to go and take your bath. After you must have worked for them, you have to go and take your bath before you can come and stay in their house. So before you come back, you must have closed the door. So we peep through the window. You know the village house, there's always, so other peep through the window. This unfortunate day for me, Cameroon was playing football with one other team. We're small, like watch football. So the whole place was locked up. And I would have trekked to one far village to go and cut Indian bamboo. You know, in the villages, you have Indian put their antenna.
The antennas, yeah.
One long antenna, we went to the village, everybody carry, you have to support it, because if you don't carry it, they will mark you and you will not watch TV. So we came, put that stuff, and then we turned it until the thing was actually showing. Then we have to go take our bath to come back. Before we came back, they were locked everywhere. So I had to peep through under the door if I could see. And unfortunately for me, they swept sun, and sun entered my eyes. I wept. And I went home and I said, I must be the first young person in my age group to buy a television in this village. That was the end. I never entered those postcards again. I never watched TV in that woman's house again. And I started working. When I got to secondary school from 1, I started buying cocoa. I'll come back from school. I had one cousin that was a produce buyer. I'll join him. I'll be learning how to buy cocoa. I'll be carrying cocoa on my back and all of that. And that's how the thing moved until business became part of what I could do. And I could see myself differentiating myself from my mates. I became the first young person that had a phone. When phones started coming now, we have Siemens and all of that. There's a phone that came, they call bed clappers. If you have it, you really have money. I was the first person that bought it in my village. I was the first person among my mates that bought a television. Every other person could now come and watch television in my house. Because of that, I was like, in what I did from 7 p.m. to like 2 a.m. in the morning. Put on the generator, put the TV, open the whole doors. Everybody was watching because I felt the pains. I think that was where my need for humanity started building up. Because I felt the pains, the humiliation from those guys. It's like, okay, no, everybody must watch. And I opened the whole doors, nobody's looking everywhere. It just started like that.
Okay, when I listen to what Mr. Teke just said, he made 2 key decisions. A radical decision. It starts with a radical decision. He says, okay, in their car, or before entering the car, they say you have to remove your slippers before you get in. And then he worked so hard to watch a Cameroon football match and was not opportune to even watch it. And then made that firm decision that I must get a car and then I must purchase a TV set in the village. Does it start? We are talking about the journey of an entrepreneurship. Does it start with taking very firm, radical decisions that this is what I want to do?
Of course, you cannot be an entrepreneur when something that has not triggered you. Something must inspire you, and it's always a need, or maybe you are dissatisfied, and that's why anger is very, very important. You must be angry at something, and you change the situation. Just like me. At one time, I was very angry for the fact that though I was very intelligent in school, I could not get a job. So I started thinking, what do I do? I empowered myself. I started saving people, learning from entrepreneurs. That's why the very first thing that I did when I was at the workplace, I did it. I saved the place as if it was mine. For that reason, I was made the assistant manager of the place, though still what you call an apprentice. So those are the things. But why I decided to take that journey was because I was angry, just like Mr. Teke. I was angry for the fact that every time they say concours, because our parents and the people around us will always advise us write concours, they are out. Those who are in having jobs, they always request that the concours are out, let's write it. At one point, I calculated in a year, I think it's 2013, the money that I put into concours That one was about 300,000. I said, if I start a business with this one, it is going to help me. I could start a business with it. I said from that time, nobody, not even the government, would take my 1 franc again because of a job. So I started buying CDs, because you realize I'm somebody who actually fell in love with gadgets. So I started buying TV, these DVD cassettes. I usually buy 150 francs or 200, and I sell for 500 francs. I bought them in Bamenda. I would sell in Dop. I would sell them in Oko. So gradually, I increased to selling DVDs, the DVD players, TVs, went to computers, and that's it. I became a salesperson, and today I'm the marketing director for Tex Global and Value Chain Services. I think it's something that started from the day that I got angry with the fact that I have been giving too much money to the government, and I said, I'm not sure the government needs my money, I need their money. So let me be solving problems for them. I've repaired as a computer technician because I did hardware maintenance.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Teme Ben. I'm writing from Mauritius, Iceland. Please, I wish to introduce my business in your platform and a program like this. Please, what should I do? Just contact us, please, if you have any business anytime. Call us, contact us. We are going to advertise your business on My Media Prime TV. You could use the morning show, Cockroach, that is handled by Fit Tata. You could use In the House. You could use any of our pigeon programs to advertise your business. Just contact us, and we are going to give you the opportunity to do so. I want to stress on this issue of taking a radical decision. That is, everybody who is watching, because many young people are in their homes, living with their uncles, and say that they really want to be entrepreneurs, but they need to take that firm decision. That is, they need to take that the radical decision to leave they call it comfort zones. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, leaving the comfort zone is one of the advices that is usually given for somebody who wants to do something worthwhile, because if you are getting all you want, you don't see that need, there's no desire. But if you would desire something extra, and then you can't have that in your comfort zone. But taking a radical decision doesn't mean that you should, because when we're talking like this, we're talking about people living with their parents or their uncles. Some will say that, okay, they have said that I should become a radical entrepreneur, so whatever daddy or mommy is saying, I shouldn't listen, I should become an entrepreneur. No. At one point in time, there's that point where you have to be under somebody and follow instructions, and there come that time where you take responsibility for yourself. That process, you cannot skip it. If you skip it, you are going to cause a lot of problems in your life and your family. So that decision, most times entrepreneurs, they walk a lonely road. People only come to support your journey when it has reached let me say a particular stage in the fruitful journey. But at the beginning, you have the full responsibility to take that decision, that today this is the road I'm taking and nothing is stopping me. Like in March, I think March 2020, when I quit my banking job, that's one of the most radical decisions I've ever taken in my life, because everybody around me, when I informed them, they were like, no, you can't quit, because how are you going to cope? You have a family, you have children. I discussed that with people around me for about 2 years, but for the last 6 months to that decision, I did not discuss it with anybody. I did not. I took that responsibility that whatever come may, I'm going to take this decision and I'm going to cope with it. And of course, when you are taking that decision, mind you, it's going to be hard, because you're breaking from a point where you already had comfort, you had relationships that were fueling maybe your daily life, to a place where you don't know how things are going. So it's going to be a difficult one, it's going to be a tough one, but taking some radical decision means that you are going to face radical situations.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I wish to find out from Mr. Teke, when will Tex Creed go functional, and do they finance any projects or only projects which are agriculture oriented? Blessed day. Elvis Liunga writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Elvis Liunga. There is another question for you, Mr. Teke. That's why I'm reading the messages at all. Good evening. I'm seeing a program. They said that Journey of Entrepreneurship. What is the journey all about? It's a journey of how you leave poverty to becoming rich. That's a journey all about. Did I speak well? Okay. Let me not misrepresent what we are talking about here. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Romanos from Douala. Thank you for this educative program. I have heard so much about this company and they sound so interesting, but I'm very scared to invest because of the numerous banks that ends up running away with people's savings. Please, I want Mr. Teke to give more reasons one can trust Tex Global. This program is very educative, Mr. Kumlenat. These guys are very instrumental with their testimonies. Our youth in Cameroon should emulate such persons rather than depending on the government. The last speaker just reminded me of my life in Nguti. The best way to succeed in life is to move out of the comfort zone. Jude is writing from Canada. Good evening to you, Jude. Mr. Teke, can you just assure everybody that the Tex Global is authentic, credible, because they keep calling me every day?
I don't think there's anybody in Tex Global or in Cameroon that I know at the moment that lost the kind of money I've lost in businesses.
Okay.
If I put all the money I've lost in my life in business, I've actually hustled, I've worked hard. If I put all the money I've lost in businesses, it should be getting to at least 600 to 700 million. I've lost a lot of money. So I know what it means to lose money. I know what it means to want to commit suicide because of a great loss in your life. And I didn't start Tex Global because I want to make money alone. I started Tex Global to solve a problem and to take myself away from that guilt of all the loss I've had in my life. I've introduced people to businesses that they have lost their money. I needed to compensate them. That was why I started Tex Global. And I can tell anyone, like I was talking to someone today, I said, by the grace of God, if Tex Global closes down today, we can sell off our assets and we pay people back their money. That's the assurance I can give anybody. Sometimes I feel terrible. I don't even know how to talk about Tex because I've done this thing for 4 years. I have sacrificed, I have sweated, I have done a lot within 4 years to be able to build this credibility. When there was nothing to show up for, there was no property, there was no land, there was no business to show up for, we were there. You should have doubted us in 2016. You should have doubted us in 2017. You should have doubted us in 2018 or doubted us in 2019 or even 2020. 2021 is too late for you to still be scared or be afraid that something's going to happen. I know someone might want to say, okay, but you're not God, but trust me, I'm a child of God. And I have seen the end from the beginning. I know what I'm working with, I know what he told me, and I know where we are going to.
Okay, but Mr. Teke, 2 questions came now.
Yes, sir.
First, there was another one before this.
The other one that says, maybe you can just read that.
Okay, let me take the pins to go back to it. Oops, this one says the journey of entrepreneurship. Okay, I say the journey is from poverty to riches. If you want to.
Yes, the one before that one. Yes, thank you for that.
We should find out if from Mr. Teke when will Tex breed.
Tex breed.
Oh, Tex breed. Tex breed is actually a new community that we are creating. I think by 15th of May they are going to launch it. So what we want to do with Tex breed is, I've had a lot of people come to my office. I have this idea, I have that idea, and all of that. I need funding and all of that. So we cannot be supporting people's project or mentoring people's project haphazardly. So we want to create a community called Tex breed, where we're going to help people fund, support, and mentor their projects. So by 15th of May, I think we're going to launch that. I think that's in the hands of Mr. Buji, Ms. L, and other people who are in charge of that, where we want to be able to gather young Cameroonians with great ideas, see how we can come as a community, fund their projects, sponsor those ideas, make sure their dreams come into reality. And talking about agricultural projects, yes, we sponsor all projects as long as they are legit, as long as they are feasible, as long as they are productive.
Okay. Mr. Teke,
yes, sir.
You said you started selling Aero.
Kerosene
Aero in secondary school.
Yes.
We have moved from the village to
town.
Kumba.
Mm-hmm.
You sold Ero.
Yes, in school.
You finished your secondary school.
Yeah.
You moved on to how?
So after my advanced level, I was 17, going to 18. Then I traveled out of Cameroon. I went to Nigeria.
Okay.
I just traveled from Cameroon to Nigeria. At that tender age, I was very small. I had a cousin in Nigeria that I was going to meet, and I was supposed to go to China. From Nigeria. So the idea was, okay, come to Nigeria, we'll get you a Nigerian passport, then from there it's that to go to China. So I left Cameroon without a passport. I had no passport. I had just an ID card. Then I went to Nigeria. I used boat. I went to Nigeria with a boat, speed boat, and I was very small. I got to Oron. I lost the contact, that my cousin's number. He was in Lagos. Oron to Lagos is like almost 16 hours by road. And I got to Oron, I lost the number. I didn't know where to go to. And and I was frustrated. I couldn't call. There was no phone, there was no number, and there was nothing. So luckily for me, one man saw me. He said, you look like someone I know. And then I mentioned one of my elder brothers' name that works in the Bamusora Council. And I said, yes. So what I do here? And I explained the stuff, and I was crying. I'm a child. And that's how the man took me to his house. And they were now trying to figure out what they're going to do me. It was during December period, and Nigeria is very scary during that period. So I stayed in man's house for over 3 weeks. They were giving me food and everything for 3 weeks until he got in contact with my brother. They now sent the number again, and then the call went through. And that's how I traveled as a child from Oron to Lagos, generally over 16 hours by road alone. Before I got to Lagos, it was at night. And Lagos, if you've been to Lagos, you know what Lagos looks like. And I didn't know what to do. At night, I was confused. So I took a taxi, and the taxi stayed in the traffic hold up for over 5 hours. So the taxi man had mercy on me and then put me on a bike. And then I just mentioned the name. That was Alaba International Market. So he said I should stop at Alaba International Market. By 8, Alaba had closed already. And I didn't know where to go to. So the bike guy just carried me, and we're going until we have passed Alaba. I never knew. And how God made it, and this my cousin was standing by the road after Alaba, there's another place they call Ajangbade. He was just standing there. This is someone I've not seen for like 12 years. And he was just standing, and the bike was passing with me. Then he just shouted my name. They call me in the village. They call me Mola. He just called Mola. I just heard him. I said, stop, stop, stop. How he saw me at night is only God. I would have been missing by now. And that's how he called me. Then I stopped. Then I was in Lagos, and that's how everything started. So that's how I got to Nigeria. And the China thing did not work. Then I remained in Nigeria, and the whole story is like
You started hustling.
I started hustling. I'll be buying television. So when the China thing didn't work, I became frustrated, and my cousin got angry. He told me, okay, now that it's not working, he doesn't have money, and the money I brought is gone, so I should go and learn a trade, because I couldn't follow him to his shop. He used to sell on Laba Market. I couldn't go there because the noise was so crazy. I'm come from Cameroon, where we've grown how to go to school. So when someone said, okay, I should go learn a trade, I said, okay, I can learn how to repair computers. Then I thought that was a lucrative trade to learn. And when he figured out the prices, it was much, he now asked me to go and learn how to repair television. So I tried to do that for 2 weeks. It wasn't working. I'll be carrying big TVs as a child, transporting it. When we repair it, we go and deliver it to the people and all of that. And I was getting sick every day. So I told him I was not going again. So he came one day and was angry and told me, in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, if you stay in Face Me, I Face Your house, because that's where he was staying.
Face Me, Face Your house.
Yeah, Face Me, I Face You is that's where they build the house. So they'll put a corridor. Then you have rooms here like that. So if you stay at home without going out, when everybody's going out, if anything gets missing in the compound, they'll call you because you are the one that doesn't go to work. So he was scared that something should not get missing, and they now say it's his brother. So he came one evening and said, hey, I have to go back there. He wants to get married, and the girlfriend said he can't stay with someone in that one room. So that's how my cousin gave me 8,000 naira at night around 8:30. Then took me to the agency. I took a bus to come back to Cameroon. I have to travel another 6 hours journey to get to Oron. We spent 3 days on the road. The bus was always getting bad, and before I got to Oron, I've exhausted the whole money. I stayed for more than 24 hours without food. I was there, I was looking so white. I got to Oron, there's no transport to pay the boat to bring me to Cameroon, and I stayed there for more than 18 hours, and I had to meet a boat driver, and I was begging, I was crying. That's how God sent another person again who could recognize me through my elder brother's face, and they put me in a boat and they got me to Bamso. Then I got to Bamso, I was angry. That same anger, I made another statement that I will go back to Nigeria, I will make a lot of money, and I will be richer than that my cousin. Now I started buying crayfish from Bamso. I'll take it to Lagos, sell it. I'll buy TVs, buy computers, laptops. I'll bring them to Cameroon and sell them. That's how I got into business.
That's how you got into business. We are talking about the journey of an entrepreneurship. Yes, the persons you find out there, they need to tell their stories so that you know that it's not always easy. Now, he went to Nigeria. It was not easy. He was sent packing. He received sand from, he's seen it all. But he always made that determination or that decision that I must, this is what you've done to me. I must be more than you.
I want to say something. See, I wasn't angry with people that did those things to me.
Yes,
I was angry with myself.
Yourself,
so
yes.
there was no form of revenge,
Yes.
or form of I want to pay you back for the evil you did. And so you cannot get it right if your problem become people. Your problem should become, how do I change this?
I think from his story, most of us who were born in the early 80s, we experienced that, had a difficulty having access to watch the TV. As I said one time in a seminar, that when I was growing up, I was planning that when I have money, I'll buy a TV, and my kids too are going to treat other kids the way they treated me. But my dreams did not go through, because the time I bought the TVs were even in people's hands, so I could not fulfill my dream. So it's an experience that we early had. But you blaming people, your parents or whosoever did whatever to you in the journey, will not permit you to go anywhere, because this thing needs a lot of attention. It needs a lot of nurturing, nourishing. And if you go around saying, okay, this person did this to me because, and you stay there blaming, you will not go anywhere. It takes you deciding. But the good thing is that when you decide to do whatever, it's not about you. What you are doing is for other people, and that's what life is all about. Like somebody, what made me to start going around and talking in schools and telling students that no, it's not all about job. If you can get a job, there's other things you can do, you have skills, was because I did not want them to go my journey. Because now, okay, this is where this I've born, and this is how it's rocky for me. They should not come the rocky way too, because my way was rocky. What should I do? I should tell them that, okay, 1,000 of you are having the same certificates. 1,000 of you are looking for jobs. What is going to set you apart from others? That's the difference you should be thinking. Okay, now if jobs are not coming, what should you be doing? Will you go back to your parents, or you will now get into some kind of dirty stuff because jobs are not coming? You should always be in that position of asking questions to sort yourself out, not staying and saying that, okay, since things have not gone the way, because it is certain the school system is doing what they are doing, and that's what they can give, and that's the base, that's the window that you can see through. You have the responsibility to either see through that window and then create a bigger picture for yourself, or you lay there low and do whatsoever and lament. As I always said, my motivation at the bank was retired people who were coming for pension, and their pension was very small. You see somebody who has worked all his life, and his pension is 18,000 or 32,000, 50,000. I was like, and then you see them, they are old, they are sick, their body needs maintenance, but what they are paying them, I start to imagine, okay, if I grow old, and is this what I'm going to be paying? If I told my kids I did not invest in my kids, or I had no investments around, what will become of me? I'm earning a salary of, let me say, averagely 300,000, and then at a certain age where I need to take care of myself, salary has dropped down to 18,000 or so. I mean, I think that's why so many people, when they retire, they die early. When they retire, because their income drops drastically, and if at all they had not prepared their retirement per se, not the kind of preparation that we.
Actually, Mr. Teke, I want us to take a topic. maybe next week if you guys are disposed to talk about preparing for retirement.
Okay.
Just
Yes.
remind me so that we discuss that. Yeah.
That's going to be very, very important, because as I was saying, at the bank I saw a lot. You see, because normally when we grow old, our bodies need a lot of maintenance, because through our youthful age we have encountered hard labor, maybe hardship and stuff, and the body is tired. You need more maintenance. At that point in time, you need more income to be able to maintain yourself. But if that income is not there, what happens? You die. So that is not what we should be waiting for. As you rightly said, that's something that we should enlighten young people about. We should enlighten even the generation that is about to retire. And I think Test Global is that platform where you should be looking at.
But what is crucial here, when you listen to the story of Mr. Teke, he sells kerosene, he sells watafu and eru in school. He moves to Nigeria and things don't work out. But he did not settle down for what was given him by his immediate environment. For example, the cousin says you have to go learn how to fix televisions. He looked beyond what his community presented to him, and that is where many young people fail, because you are in a community and almost everybody is selling cuisine. You start selling cuisine and you end there, and whatever life presents to you, you engage in it and end there.
Yeah, absolutely. That is it. The problem that most youth face is this my rich uncle is not doing this to me. The government is not doing this. My parents are not doing this. You have complaints like my parents are not rich. So I always relate this back to my own situation. I've sold firewood. I fetched firewood in the forest that you could describe as an evil forest to sell just to make money. Mount Oko to be precise. I fetched firewood there and sold. Why? Because I went to school at a time where we have other children go to school, pocket allowance and other things. So during break, they always have to go, they eat or something, they take care of themselves. But going to school, coming for the fact that what is given to us is your school fees. You have your school fees, then you can take care of any other thing that arises. You're paying, but there are children who have pocket allowance. They are almost like they're on the salary. So I decided that I will just go back during holidays, as if it's because the school term has 3 holidays. Every holiday I have a number of bundles of firewood that I have to fetch in the forest. From the fact that I grew up in town with my aunt, that is in Kumbo, before I came to the village and I was exposed to such situations, sometimes I will carry my firewood, it's heavy and I'm crying. But I'm actually going with it. You have firewood that you could sell for about 5,000 now, but we sold it just for about 200 or 250 francs. All those things were the things that actually made me survive through tough situations. But I did not have to blame it on anybody. I had to face the realities so that I could be able to take care of myself. And that is why I always say, whatever you do, put your mind into it. Don't do it as you want to challenge anybody. Become excellent there and you're going to save before great men and women.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Talking about agriculture and entrepreneurship, please. I have a cassava farm, a cassava processing project that I will want to share with Text Global. Fruit chair, writing from Bamenda. Fruit. The numbers are on your screen. Call the numbers after the program. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Great show, great panelists sharing great ideas. I salute the efforts of the team. It's a blessing to have them around. Oliver and Shom, writing from Bamenda too. Good evening to you, Oliver. Good evening, Mr. Liu and all the panelists on board. Please, Liu, I want to ask Mr. Teke this question. How can someone start a business without having any capital? I'm Elvis, writing from Limbe. Many persons are asking these questions. Why would you want to start a business without capital? I'm sure you have been going to bars every day now. Why not keep the money to start a business with it? Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm stuck to my TV set. Teke's story is inspiring and touching. It is called to Cameroonians to wake up and hustle, follow the right path and the right procedure, and be disciplined and focused. Say hi to the big brains. Alex is writing from from Boya, always watching the program. Alex, good evening to you too. Mr. Teke, now, I don't know who raised this, but I was going to ask you, an entrepreneur is a loner, as you must carry a load and stay focused.
Yes, the journey is more of an individualistic decision than a collective decision. If you want to do it looking at what people are going to say or how many persons will join you, you will never have that. Definitely people are going to join you, but not when you are starting. You see, you will never see a seed that is planted and is depending on another seed to grow. When you plant a seed, the seed has the tendency to walk alone, die, bear the pains in the grave when it's buried, and then shoot out. When the seed shoot out, it's at that point that everybody starts passing by to look at. And when the seed shoots out, it becomes a tree. Other seeds join that one seed. It's one seed that shoots out, grow, and then bear fruits, and now have more seeds in them. So, in the journey of entrepreneurship, when you are in the building stage, just fix your mind that you are alone. Then, when you start getting to the celebration stage, also prepare your mind that you always have people around. So if you want to say, hey, when I was suffering, nobody was there for me, you're going to miss it out. Because when it is at your celebration stage, you need people to actually push the dream with you. Because vision is never given to a group of people. A vision is always given to one person. But it is a collective responsibility for the vision to be fulfilled. But one person must be ready to carry out the vision. One person. So if you are a vision bearer, if you want to become a successful entrepreneur, know that you have to start it alone. You have to start it alone. And when you have started and then it has started making some sense, people will definitely join you. Put them along, work with them, show them what they have to do, and then you keep moving. It's a lone journey.
It is a lone journey, but it also has to do with a lot of sacrifice. You need what should be the rapport of that perfect entrepreneur when we talk of this relationship, social relationship in the community?
Well, see,
you need to cut off now.
As an entrepreneur, you have to understand certain things. You must always learn to get to a place of balance. You know when you have to be alone, and you know when you have to mix with people. I was writing some notes lately, and one of the areas where one has to become rich or wealthy is the area of social network, because there are certain areas in your life where you need people, you need relationship. As an entrepreneur, no matter how intelligent, how genius you are, you need certain people in your life. As a matter of fact, one way to prove your genuity is your ability to have a lot of friends around. Keep them in their various positions, know your discipline, know where you are, and know where they are supposed to be. So you need the social impact in your life if you really have to succeed. Because as an entrepreneur, you're going to be employing people. You have to learn to work with them. You're going to have clients. You have to learn to work with them. All these has to build with your ability to work on your social network. So the place for people is there, but the place for your individual decision is always there. There are times where you have to stay alone in your house. For example, yesterday, or 2 nights ago, no, yesterday I went out of social media. I deleted my Facebook account completely. I had to make a certain decision like that. And very soon I'm going to go out of WhatsApp. There's a reason. I have to. There's something I want to work on, and I need to go away from all of those things to be able to build it. And the result will only come out in the next 2, 3, or 5 months. I was like, okay, I had to do this. It's not easy. So, like 3 persons went to, what happened to your Facebook? I said, okay, I went out of Facebook. It's a tough decision for someone who makes a lot of money online to actually go. It's like going out of business, consciously going out of business. So that decision, the whole thing about entrepreneurship is maturity, your ability to make a decision and keep to that decision, that discipline. You have to learn it. If you say, I'm going to be alone for 3 months and study, do it. You say, I want to make 20 friends today, and these friends are going to be my business partners. You have to do it, no matter how difficult, how sacrificial it's going to be. If it will kill you to achieve that, make sure you die and achieve it. Of course, as an entrepreneur, you cannot live until you truly die.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Touching story and good inspiration from Mr. Teke. Thank him for accepting to share his story. Good evening, sir. I really enjoyed the program. More grace to those on the panel. William is writing from Mutengene. Mr. Teke, I'm asking you a question, and that question should be an answer to many persons who are asking about how to start a business without capital. Okay. You are telling a story of how you left Lagos, going to Oron. Before you reach Oron, you exhausted your everything. You had to move back to Bamuso. Yeah. But the story says that you came back with nothing.
Yes.
But that did not stop you from looking for something to start all over. How did that happen?
Okay, so I just want all of us to understand one thing, that there is always a way. There is no challenge that doesn't have a solution. There's always a way out. So how did it happen? When I got to Bamso, with that anger, that decision that I have to go back to that, I would have changed my country, I would have changed my location. But I decided, so if you are listening, one of the greatest tools you have for your success is your mouth. You have to learn to use it right, else you destroy yourself. The Bible says, by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. One of the things that kept me were the things I said to myself. I'm going back to that Nigeria and I'll make it big. And anytime I want to relax, that thing will ring in my mind, like, this is what you have said and you have to do it. So what I did was, since my brother worked in that place, they know him, I went to all these farmers that farm crayfish. They go to the water, see the fishermen catch crayfish and come, they dry it. So I go there, I discuss with them, I get their crayfish. Truth be told, I had no money. I get their crayfish, we discuss the price, I carry it, go to Nigeria, sell it, buy those electronics, come back. Some of them I exchange their debt and give them TV, give them laptop, and then we exchange it like that. Some I sell and then pay them the money. When I'm going back, I use my profit, pay them advance, get more crayfish, go back to Lagos, sell them and all of that. That's how I started. So the whole thing first is, you don't need money. Money is not the first thing you need. Money is not the first thing you need to start your entrepreneurship journey. The first thing you need, number one, is the decision to get in. Number two, you need your mind intact. If your mind is out of place, your life is out of place. So I was able to put my mind, I set up my mind that I'm going for this thing and I'm going to win in that. Yes. Then I made the decision, then I started. And so the universe was only collaborating with me based on my mind and the words I have spoken.
Mr. Teke, is the problem not also that of fear? You were not too versed with Lagos, but you said, I would go back to Lagos and do business, and you did it.
Yes.
So many persons may be seated in, maybe in Tamulun watching us now, maybe in small support watching us, and says, how do I start? I don't know anybody in Douala. I don't know anybody in Yaoundé. How do I start?
Seriously, that question, how, is not a question that an entrepreneur should ask.
Yes.
In the journey of financial success, the principle is, take the first step you can see. Okay, get into the in the billionaire mindset, the system I wrote, I say, get into the corridor. You don't know the next door that will open for you. So take the first step and just start climbing the staircase. If you don't get to the summit, just keep going until you get there. Because if you want to keep calculating, how do I start? That's why I don't like overbook, because it's overbook that will make someone to sit and start analyzing. I call it paralysis by analysis. You sit, I want to analyze, okay, I have to leave Kumba and travel to Boya, then move to Douala, look for a place to stay. No. How do I do all of this? Go sleep under the bridge. I have to say that if it requires you to get to Douala and realize at 9 p.m. you don't have a place to stay, look for a bar, stay there until when everybody has taken their drink and then they are going. Sleep by any bench. If there's no bar, sleep under the bridge. Go to a wrong point, sleep by that statute, stay there.
People are always there.
Always there. Yeah? If you wake up the next morning and realize that you slept out, man, there is a way the universe collaborate with you if they see the decision you have made in your life to succeed. God is not emotionally driven. And so he will never respond to your too many questions of how do I do it. God only responds to actions. I'm going to do it, and I trust God. He's going to back me up.
I will bless the works.
And I will bless the works of your hands.
He
asked Moses, he said, what do you have in your hand? And anytime you sit in your house and you say, God, what do I do? Look at me, I don't have money. God is asking you a silent question. What do you have in your hand?
Okay.
I taught something today at Shape Academy, and I said, you have to learn to listen to God or to somebody you have called your mentor. If you want to follow God or you want to follow your success journey, don't use your eyes, use your ears and your mind. Anything you hear, just go. Don't try to figure out whether the road is clear or not. If I had done that, I wouldn't have been where I am today. I came to Cameroon with over 370 million. All the money disappeared. I had to just listen and I had to just follow based on what I heard. If I had realized that, oh God, what do I do? Should I go back to Nigeria and start hustling, or should I go back to this country? I would have missed it out. Over 10,000 Africans and 10,000 people in the world today who depend on Teke's global system would have been broke if I had wanted to use my optical eyes to see the challenges that were ahead of us.
Okay, they want to see the end from the beginning, like God. We are not God. So let's just take the step. God wants our faith now.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. Loving the program. I would really like to talk to Mr. Teke concerning my business and how to make it bigger, because like I said in the last program, it shows a lot of promise, but how to make it bigger is still the problem. I have it is a homemade drumstick business, and just selling to churches around has made me realize how important it is, but how do I expand? The numbers are on your screen. Just call us. Good evening, this is Rose from Teke. What does it take to be an entrepreneur? I'm a teen of lower seat and inspired to be an entrepreneur. What does it take, Mr. Teke?
It just takes you to start.
Okay.
Just start with that dreams, that thing in your mind. Just start with it. That's how.
Okay.
Just start.
Good evening, Mr. Teke Samuel. How can someone not to invest in a right business? John from Limbe. Well, that is what is killing most of us. We want to invest only in the right business. But it's good to also do some findings now.
It's good to always find out how do I invest in the right business. It's perfect, it's wonderful. But sometimes there's something I always tell people. I say sometimes just give yourself that, okay, if I lose, I lose.
It's a risk now.
Yes, it's a risk.
There's always a risk.
Like I always say, what faith is to a Christian is what risk is to a businessman. If I lose, I lose. Just get in there. So you've been asking questions all through your life.
10 years, you are still asking
10 years.
questions.
There is no wrong business and there's no right business. It is wrong people that make the business wrong, and it is right people that make the business right.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love the topic. It's really inspiring. Greetings to Mr. Teke. His story is really inspiring. Cindy is writing from Bomenda. Good evening. Please, I wish to ask Mr. Teke that what are the factors lenders consider before giving out loans to entrepreneurs? It's Brandon writing from Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to Tex Global from Daddy Clay in Boya, the president of a newly registered association mandated to fight poverty. We have identified a verifiable farmland to produce and transform cassava. It measures 1,100 meters square, worth 500,000 francs safely. We wish that Mr. Teke and team help us acquire it, and our group will refund the money after a year with 10% interest. Can you just call them and discuss that,
yes,
please?
Tex will take care of that. So just call the numbers on the screen.
Good evening to you guys in the studio. I want to thank my Media Prime for the program. I'm so happy to join this program now. I actually stayed with Pastor Samuel in Port Harcourt. He is a God-fearing man. Thank God I have his number now.
Who's writing that? All right, so what people don't also know is that I'm a pastor. I'm an ordained pastor.
Okay.
Trust me, I'm an ordained pastor. But so when people hear you're a pastor, they say,
yes, no man. The
Yes,
person
I
has
know.
your number and they'll call you.
Yes, they'll call. So they expect you to be in a church. And I had these pastors that came one time and they were attacking me like, why would you abandon the house of God and then you are moving around teaching people how to make money? And I tell them, of course, teaching people how to make money is also ministry. That's where I'm doing my own pastoring. Because God wants us to prosper. And if anybody can make a decision to teach people how to make money, you are doing church.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Casey from Bamenda. I want to start up a business. I want to be educated. Just start the business now. Whatever business is in your hands, but you can call for advice using the numbers on your screen. This is my first time to watch this program. Which days are these programs going on? I really love the program every day from Mondays to Friday at 7 p.m. Hello, good evening to you guys in the studio. Good evening to you too. Hi guys, I'm Kenvo. I want to ask, how can I start a job as a student? I need your help. Program yourself. Just great time. Good evening to you all in the studio. I appreciate the better work that you people are doing. Please, Mr. Lee, I wish to ask Mr. Teke somewhere how to know what you are born for. From FOPA Obain Level 1 Transport and Logistics students, you get Bonamusade. Okay, not far from here. Yes.
Okay, so how do you know what you're born for? So I was teaching today, and we had a program at Shape Academy. Shape Academy is the entrepreneurship school that we started to help people develop their mind and their entrepreneurship mind. So we had a program today on finding money to fund your dreams. And so when the trainer, the person that was training, was talking, so they gave me some few minutes to talk. So I told them, see, no matter what you're looking for, there's one thing you have to find that will help you find all the money you need in your life. And that thing is yourself. The day you find yourself, every other thing follows you. So how do you find what you were born for? It's very simple. Number one, look at the kind of things that you enjoy doing, and you can do them very well even without receiving a formal training on how to go about it. For example, I discovered I could talk very well, and people listen to me when I talk. I knew that was what I was born for. And then I started talking, and then developed the talking, and then today I'm an entrepreneur. Most of the job I do is talking. I talk. So look at the things you can do conveniently well, even without anybody paying you, and you can still do it even in your dreams. Number one. Number two, you have to watch people's earnest opinion about you. Sometimes you walk around, someone say, you look like a banker, you look like a pastor, you look like a this. You have to monitor their earnest opinion about you. You see that most time while you're growing up, parents, older people, they say certain things like that. Always put that into.
Okay. Many persons are wanting to know how they can raise capital. You can raise capital by tasting the waters as to whether you are an entrepreneur or not. You are seated at home for the past, since you graduated from the University of Boya or Yaoundé or any of these institutions, doing nothing, 2-3 years at home. Just can you tell them how they can start raising the capital?
Yeah, just like Mr. Teke said, the problem is not capital. The problem is not capital. And I always tell him that if he had lost everything, and there is one thing that if he lost, he wouldn't have had Tex Global today. The over 10,000 people that are enjoying financial freedom thanks to Tex Global wouldn't have been. What he did not lose was his billionaire mindset. He did not even lost, it's not about a millionaire mindset, because there is no possibility Mr. Teke could never have become a billionaire, because the mindset that he had is that of a billionaire, that of solving problems for people and getting paid. He realized that when he came back from Nigeria with nothing, what did he have to do? He had to create partnerships, and that's one thing that many of us don't understand. Partnerships. He created partnership with the local women and selling crayfish, as well as even when he was in the boarding school, his partnerships were with those selling hero. And you need partnerships. You need to know people who have what you want to venture into, so that you can be able to market it for them, you can be able to sell it for them with a commission. And I always say, if you lack any other skill, don't lack the skill to sell something. Because with that, if you know how to sell, you will never be broke in your life. That's the first skill that I would recommend. If you are idling at home and you don't know where to begin, learn how to sell. Also learn how to save people. Learn how to actually save even without anything. Don't put money first. But when you put money first, we will not finally get the money. Somebody will pay you the money and will not be willing to help you grow. But when you earnestly seek advice, you also need mentorship. You need to be humble. You need to humble yourself to learn from those who have gone ahead of you. Don't depend. Start from somewhere. Even in mains, put in a small. If you are a university graduate with master's degree or PhD, forget about all those things. Look at what is your immediate environment needing. How can you solve it? I actually watched a video done by a writer, Teke, who says, is your degree, is your certificate holding you back? If that is the case with you, you have to put it behind you. Know that you are entering a world of certificate, as Mr. Teke will put it himself, which is what you know. You are paid according to the value of what you bring to the market. So you now understand value. Value is the currency that that is what is going to give you what you need. People buy the value you bring to them, you bring to their businesses, not actually the money you bring.
Can I say this? Let's see how we can get this straight. Before you talk about money, there are dimensions or spheres of worth. There are certain things you need first. So everybody's talking about how do I raise capital, for how do I get money to start a business and all of that. Before you start talking about physical cash, there are certain dimensions you have to go through before you talk about physical cash. And when you go through these dimensions, they can actually give you money. One of them is what I call spiritual wealth. If you really have to be wealthy, you have to go through the dimension of spiritual wealth. It means before you start thinking of how to have physical cash, you have to look at how rich you are spiritually. Your spiritual wealth, the dimension of your spiritual wealth is very important to any physical money you want to make in your life. So every one of us listening, I want to make money, I want to do this, please build on your spiritual life first. Because the average Cameroonian is not spiritual. That is, they are not godly, they are not devilish. They don't know God, they don't know Satan. Neither cool nor hot. And the Bible says that's the kind of person the Bible says God spits out. You're not cool, you're not hot, you are just there. And the spiritual realm doesn't work with anybody like that.
The day you see whiskey, you drink.
You drink.
The day you see shy, you drink.
The day pastor preaches, you give your life to Christ, and the next day you repent, and then you go back again.
Today demon is chased out of you. Tomorrow,
things like that. So decide where you want to belong. If you think Satan will favor you, just become spiritually devilish. Or if God will favor you, become spiritually and follow God. But you must have a spiritual backing if you have to succeed. Okay. Number two, you have to work on your soul worth or your mind worth. You need to learn to build your mind, your mentality so much that money lives in you before you can actually handle it in your hand. Most people say, I want to have money, I want to be rich. They are 30 years old, they have never read a book on money before. It's not possible. They never develop themselves on how to handle wealth. So when you give them money, they mismanage it, they throw it away, and they come back and start crying that money has not come. Why?
The capital.
Yes, they
chop the capital.
They consume their capital, just like someone that eats his yam seed. If you eat your yam seed, there's not for you to plant during the next planting season.
So how do I raise capital?
How do you raise capital? If all these people that ask how do I raise capital, just give them 5 minutes to think from January till now, how much money has passed through their hands. That they have consumed, that to buy clothes, to eat food, to drink beer. You realize that they have had more than the capital they're actually looking for. And where does that stem from? They don't have a money mind. They've not been able to develop their mind. So their mental wealth is lacking, and so money can never stay in their hand.
Okay.
The next you have to build, you need to build your physical wealth. That means your health is more important than the money you are looking for. If you're not strong, healthy enough, you can never go out to look for money. So build your wealth. Take time, eat good food. Don't just eat any junk. You wake up in the morning, you eat gari, in the afternoon you eat gari, in the night you eat gari, and you're getting sick. So the little money you'd have used to put in a business, you are using it in the hospital. You can never become rich like that. So build your physical wealth. Next one is build your social wealth. It's very important. Who is your circle? You are as rich or as poor as the friends you have. So you have to decide to build your social wealth.
Yeah, the question I was going to ask him,
So who are the kind of people you have around you? You have 6 friends. How many of them have money? If everybody around you is as poor as you are, then you don't have friends. So what are you supposed to do? Start making a decision to change the kind of friends you have. It may sound rude, or it may sound arrogant, it may sound as if you are proud, but it's a decision you have to take in your life. I call it, that's why I call it in the Benin mindset. I say it's like virus. If you have 10 poor people around you, and you too, you are poor, you are living within virus. Everybody around you is a virus. They have the poverty-infested virus in them. And you have to do what they teach us in coronavirus. Keep a social distance away from them. Close your nose, close your eyes, close every part that can be closed, that can enable you to inhale their poverty. Because the moment they are around you, they don't know any other thing to talk about but poverty. And your mental health is very important if you have to succeed financially. And the moment they are around you, the things they say gets into your mind, and it affects your mind. So who are your friends? Change your friends. Change people that stand around you. Your social world is very important. Okay. See, you cannot live a kind of life and stay around people who are not rich and wealthy. Learn to make money making friends. Learn to make wealthy friends. The next you have to look at is your influential wealth. How influential are you in your environment? It means you have to take time and build your life, build your name so much that people can use your name to sign a check in the bank. In your community, how many persons know about you? You came back from school and you sat in your house and all they know about you is that person that drinks and womanize around. What do they know about you? What is your level of influence? How many persons have you affected with what you know? So build your influential worth. The next thing you have to do is build your community worth. In your community, how many persons, who have you helped in your community? Because people are not going to remember you for what you have saved. They'll remember you for what you gave. So what have you given out in your community or to your community that they can remember you? During community labor, did you ever go out to take cutlass and also clear the gutter or cut the grass? How many old women or old men have you walked through their doors and then you greet them and they can remember you that this child is always greeting us? What is the community impact that you place in your community? The last one is your generational wealth. What have you done that can last generation? The Bible says that a just man, a righteous man, will leave wealth for his children's children. So my definition for someone that will go to heaven or a righteous man is someone who have worked so hard to amass wealth for not only for his children but for his children's children. Before you start talking about money, you have to consider all of this. Now when you do all of this and put them in place, these things naturally attract money. Because if your social wealth, for example, is intact, you know a rich man, there's no way you can stay around rich people for too long and serve them well without them giving you money. They must also make you rich. So the money we are looking for is hidden in all of these things. We have abandoned this and we are pursuing money. And money is like, in the Audacity of Success, I demonstrated it. The moment you are pursuing money, money runs away. Money doesn't like people who pursue them. It's just like you, if you are dating a girl or you are trying to woo a girl. If you put too much pressure on her, they think you are not serious. They think you just want to sleep with them and go. If you overbulk them, they don't take you seriously. But when you talk to them and then leave them, they go and see, this guy talked to me, took my number, and never called me. What happened? They now started seeing value in you. But if every morning, night, afternoon, evening you are calling, they don't have respect for you. And that's how money relates. Money doesn't want anybody that put pressure on them. Money wants to look at you and see the respect you have for yourself. Then they will come to you.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. This is Besim from Lime. Please, I just got my hand from Himat Boya. Please, I need to set up a business, but okay. Set up a business, but I need Mr. Teke's enlightenment on how to go about it. Okay, can you just call the numbers on your screen? Good evening to you, Mr. Liu. Marinus writing from Boya. Extend my warm greetings to Mr. Teke. I'm a human resource management student from the Growth Mindset Entrepreneurial University. Please help me ask Mr. Teke to talk more of Text Global because I have been hearing of it, but I don't know what it's all about. So this is my first time to have opportunity to ask this. And also, Mr. Teke, given that entrepreneurship is a journey, you have to take a loan with no friends and family in taking your decisions. So my question is, how did you manage your family in the process? Because I know your family is not always by when they take such decisions. Okay,
I stayed for 8 years and no member of my family knew where I was. Nobody called me. I did not call anybody. I was dead physically as far as they were concerned until when I resurfaced. I had to take that decision. It wasn't easy. Looking at the fact that I had an issue where I was 17 and I got into some shady things and I got someone pregnant. So I had a baby that was looking up to me. As a normal Cameroonian, I would have taken that girl, put her in my house, and then but I had to abandon that responsibility and took the insult and disappeared. But today that child is living well.
Okay. Mr. Teke, what if you are trying and not getting the money? Mr. Besingi. Okay, good evening to all in the studio. I'm Linus from Yaoundé, Mimboman, listening carefully to Mr. Teke's analysis of acquiring wealth. This inspires me. He's the main man and a time changer. I would like to share with him one-on-one. Just call the number. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I always feel very happy when watching Mr. Teke and his group. I learn much from them every day. More greetings to Mr. Buji and I'm Pride, writing from Dop. Good evening, Mr. Teke Samuel. How can someone make his business great? Amran is writing from Limbe. Good evening to you over there in the studio. I want to ask, 1 million is a good capital for buy, and how can I go about it? I'm called Juven McBoy from Boya Town. I love the program. Call the number, please. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks to Mr. Teke for giving us the wonderful advice. Grace is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Foster Inda from Bamenda. Please, I want to ask Mr. Teke Samuel that as an entrepreneurial, you need a business plan. So what are the procedures of a business plan? Call them. They will prepare one for you. Shalom, please. Can Mr. Teke make a difference between a businessman and entrepreneur? Yes, I'm sure he will answer that. Please, I like the program so much. It should be 2 times a week. Alpha Favor is writing from Bamenda. Alpha Favor, sir, why? Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Fonga Kingsley from Boya. Please, how can I start up my own business? I'm a principal in St. Therese, Moliko, Boya. Okay, just call and I'm sure they will answer you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks so much for this topic, and people like Mr. Teke who are there to make Cameroonians see the reality of life. We need more of this. Marga Antoinette writing from Bamenda. No, we're talking about the population, the crowd. Yes, many persons will not want to make a move because they see how almost everybody is living. But to undertake this journey, you must cover your eyes to what the crowd is doing and push on, because you have seen what the crowd is not seeing.
Yes, the truth is that, Mr. Leo, if you want to say everybody should say okay before you kick off, then you are going to stay on the same spot for long. And the truth is that entrepreneurship, usually you are seeking roads that have not been taken before, and usually people around you never see that with you, and the first thing they always do is that they discourage you. At one point in time, what I did was that I stopped explaining myself to people who don't matter. If you ask me what I'm up to now, I say I'm up to something that I don't know. I close the door somehow, because at one point in time when you start explaining yourself to people, they'll depress your depression, as we will say it on the street. You know, they'll depress you because they don't understand where you're going to. You're the vision bearer, and the
first thing they'll tell you is that taxation will kill you.
Yes.
See, council will kill you.
They start telling you reasons why you shouldn't take that road. But you are the person who carries this vision. You are the one who feels the burden. Because at one point in time, if you don't execute this thing, you are not living your life. It is heavy on you. But if you want to give you okay, lie, you will never take that road. So the community is there, yes. Sometimes what the ideas they bring to you, they can be like some lamp lights that flash and maybe strengthen the ideas that you had in your head. But if it's that you're waiting that, okay, since I've decided to take this road, everybody around me, my family, my wife, my friends are going to appreciate this idea before I move, then you are going to stay there for quite a long time. Because even your classmates or your family members that you grew up with them, you people don't have the same journey. You don't have the same journey. At one point in time, you have to take your own road. And you can't take the road with all of them holding them. I mean, if you want to check my entourage now, for example, most of the people I hang around with now are people I've not known them for as long as 5 years, 3 years back. Because I'm not saying that those that I was relating with earlier, they were not great people. They were great people, but their road wasn't mine. They had their own roads, I had my own. I had to pave my own way. I had to start doing things that would make me relate with people that who will help me in my journey. Because initially, as I said earlier, my journey is that which I've been alone, you know. I spring from a family of 7 where I'm the only one who had O level, not to talk of degree and stuff like that. So it's something that the immediate environment doesn't understand me. My discussions cannot relate, you understand? And then the areas where I've stayed, I mean, New Bear in Douala and stuff like that, my immediate entourage there, they were not really students and stuff like that. It has been that which I'm always having my own ideas and I can't breathe with them. So most cases I'm living their own life. But that burden of me living my own life has always been there. At one point in time, I had to cut off without apologizing.
Okay. Good evening, Liu. It's Leslie from Boya, an AC technician. I move from home to home every day to repair fridges and air conditioners. How can I make my profession big? Call us using the numbers. We'll tell you how to do that. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please, I'm a civil servant. When I heard Mr. Teke, I decided to buy a taxi and I don't want it to end. Please, can Mr. Teke help me to bring a way of doing taxi business that is having my business registered to enable me have partners? Agbo is writing from Mamfi. Call the numbers, Mr. Agbo. Okay, good evening, you in the studio. Stefan from Bipanda, Douala. Very nice program. Entrepreneurship is all about having a powerful idea based on what you can do best and sticking to it. I wish to meet Mr. Teke to share with my experience with him. Okay, call him. The numbers are there. Good evening to all in the studio. I'm Edith from Bamenda. I love the program. Mr. Teke is making me strong in my business. Thank God. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please let Mr. Teke talk about finding what you were born to do. It will greatly help some of us who are yet to discover our purpose. Thanks for the program. You may just be neglecting the purpose. You may know it and still asking yourself, like John the Baptist, whether Jesus Christ was still. Yes. Mr. Liu, please help me ask Mr. Teke if there are people he has spoken to them one-on-one and they still doubt him. Because Mr. Teke is full of positive vibes and energy. I really need to know, because no matter how it will sound, I'm tempted to say that everything he says is right, though no one is perfect. Okay, Alex, we've gotten you 5 on 5. Glad to always read from you. Greetings, Mr. Liu, and a best regards to Mr. Teke. My question is, how can one excel on online business? It's Annabelle writing from Chang. Good evening to you, Annabelle. Muhammadu writing from Yaoundé says, good evening, Mr. Liu and co. Make sure that you invest in the right business before you fall in the hands of another. Chimar, okay. Good evening. Please, if someone does not have a startup capital, how does he do? Okay, well, ring the writing from Yaoundé says, good evening, Mr. Kum. I wish to ask Mr. Teke, how can one be a partner or engage with the text group? Can you just call? Good evening, sir. Can you improve the situation? There is a lot of breakage. I'm stressing to follow up. That is technical fault, maybe with at the level of the satellite or your cable distributor. Things are fluid here. Mr. Buji, we are looking at now. We also, as an entrepreneur, you must have an open mind to learn along the process.
Of course, that's the first requirement. Like in any of our seminars where we start, we always talk about the reasons why many people are poor. And one of the reasons why many people are poor is because we talked about the type of archaic mental programming, the old mindset. Like you are in the 21st century and you are still having the mindset of the Stone Age. So there are people that when you ask them, when they see an opportunity, they start asking questions like, what if I fail? Like, we always categorize these people in our events. Someone will walk up to you. People who make money from the business, Tex Global, are those who actually are open-minded. They just embrace it and they learn along the way. They say, Mr. Teke, how do you do this? What would my money be used to for? how do you manage to pay us this amount of money that you pay us? And since 2 years ago, I registered, I've been there for 4 years, and there's never been a day that I've not received my payment. When you start asking questions while you are on the journey, they give you an opportunity to excel. And despite being open-minded, doesn't mean that you cannot meet failure. But when you are met with failure, you actually have those challenges. For instance, I work with Text Global today. I've lost money to many investment schemes and scams, as I will call them. But because I'm open-minded, I still gave a trial. That when I read the book, The Billionaire Mindset by Mr. Teke somewhere, I said, I need a copy of this book. And when I met the author of the book, after that I started saying, I will meet the author of this book. And it happened that naturally, as he said something that once you start at what you say repeatedly, it happens in the physical. What is your predominant thought? There are people that you'll be wondering, why is it that this particular negative thing will happen only to me? Because of the way your mind is programmed. Your mind is not programmed to receive wealth. When you get up in the morning, how many people do affirmations? I've had an affirmation that normally, Father, I'm up today. I am open to receiving wealth, money, good health, and all those things. They are prayers that you put, and the heavens actually, they align with what you say. So you are first of all a prophet of yourself. And if you are not open-minded, there is no way you can be an entrepreneur. Being open-minded means that if you discover a need, a vacancy, and that people have a need in the community where you belong, step in and solve the problem. If we tell you, we have an investment platform, and we are able to pay you this, give us an open mind. Listen to us, ask questions, instead of saying, this one is a scam. Because by the time you are saying this one is a scam, you finally go and enter a scam, because that's the one you are claiming to be very intelligent. You are analyzing. At the end of the day, you don't take action, and you take action in the wrong thing because you were not open-minded. So if you have to succeed as an entrepreneur, if you want to succeed in anything that you are doing, be open-minded. Be open-minded means at every time, always be ready to learn. Listen more than you talk. And in that way, you are going to succeed. You people, there are numbers that we provide. People call instead of listening. There are some people who, instead of listening, you want advice. Instead of listening, you talk more than you are to listen. And with those things, there is no way you cannot you cannot learn new opportunities if you still have old stuff in you. And this goes in line with the people that you keep around your cycle, those you communicate with. Who are the people you seek advice from? Seek advice from the wrong people, and you will get the wrong advice, and you will get the wrong results.
Okay. A positive and inspirational story from Mr. Teke. Bro, I appreciate your efforts. I thought I have hustled, but from today, your stories will make me double my efforts. Blessed panelist, Mr. Liu. Collins is writing from Austria. This one is, thanks very much. I will get to you tomorrow. Okay. Good evening to you too. Mr. Teke, we are talking about entrepreneurship. And many persons think that entrepreneurship, you need to... Someone asked about businessman and entrepreneur, but I was going to ask you the place of morality in what we do, because some people think that it's just to make money.
Yeah, so entrepreneurship is not it's not just about making money. Like what I say, entrepreneurship, in my definition, is your ability to solve a problem with a profit in mind. Solve a problem. Immoral people don't solve problems, they steal. So if you do scamming and you have money, you are not a businessman. Okay, let me even call you a businessman. So let me try to put the difference between businessman and entrepreneurship and an entrepreneur. A businessman is someone who is following the status quo, what is there, sell this thing and make money. An entrepreneur is someone who does the extraordinary, someone who has people in mind, someone who is concerned about humanity's smiles. An entrepreneur is someone who wants to solve a problem. And that's why an entrepreneur will always be richer than a businessman, because entrepreneur goes for problem. They seek for solution. And the only way you can make a lot of money is when you solve problem for people. Business people don't solve problems. They sell, they exchange goods and services. But entrepreneurs solve problems for people. So an entrepreneur doesn't just make money. An entrepreneur is concerned about humanity's well-being and humanity's survival. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, be ready to solve problems. That's why it's easier for an entrepreneur to stay for some time without making money, because they are busy solving problems. But when you're done solving the problems, the reward will definitely come. That's where morality comes in. The truth is, you cannot sustain it if the moral tendencies are lacking. You can make money for a while, but if you're not doing morally right, it cannot last for generations. And that's why we have a lot of ex-rich people everywhere in Cameroon today, because most people are concerned about how much money they want to make without thinking of how much is going to affect people negatively or positively. The place for morality is very important if you must keep generational wealth. Except you just want to make money and then buy cars and then build houses. But if you really want to make generational wealth, you have to understand the place for morality.
Okay. Mr. Good evening. I'm Brandon from Suomi, that is in Finland. Ask Mr. Teke if he has no godfather. I mean someone in government in Cameroon. You cannot do business in Cameroon and excel. He has an answer to that. Okay, Clinton, I got your message. 5 on 5. Good evening to you people in the studio. How can I get a copy of Billionaire's Mindset? Abin Ken from Chang. Abin Ken just called me tomorrow. You will send one to you. Daisy writing from Kumba says, good evening, Mr. Liu and the entire Text Global team. Kudos to Mr. Teke and his team. I'll join as soon as possible. Daisy, a train will leave before you come.
Godfather, I don't. God is the only Godfather I have is God in heaven. Because I come from a very broke home. No government person knows me. Like, nobody, they don't know. My father doesn't have a name in Cameroon that can be heard or reckoned with. So I don't have a Godfather, physically speaking, but I think I have God in heaven. And that's where it all begins. See, rich people don't identify with poor people. So if you have to get into the pinnacles of life and meet these people, you have to work your ass out first. Because when you have sacrificed, you have killed, like I thought today, I said, if you find you have to learn to kill you. After killing you, you have to bury you. When you bury you, you have to fight yourself out to come out of the grave. The moment you come out of the grave, the people begin to find you. Mr. Leo, you will never see someone who is being initiated into Illuminati that is a dummy. The Illuminati court doesn't take any dummy into their circle. They take people who have already made it. So if I know anybody that is influential today, it's not because I knew them before. I'm knowing them because I've been able, by the grace of God, to build a degree of integrity by hard work and sacrifice, and then place my name or myself in a certain position that they can find me. But as of having a Godfather to get into this level that I am, no, I have not.
Isn't it also what is discouraging many persons to always think that you are excelling because you have a Godfather or you belong to some funny things?
No.
Somebody actually wrote to me from Malawi that I should introduce him into the Illuminati cult, and I asked him what Illuminati was. He said, "No, please don't pretend. Introduce me to this." Yes, so it's also very discouraging, because one last question I wanted us to understand is that on the path, the journey of entrepreneurship, we should also be ready for name calling, sir.
Yes,
because the environment in which we live, many persons have been made to believe that to make it,
you must belong.
You must have a Godfather. You must
be in a court and all of that. The truth is, the truth is, and I say this from the depth of my heart, the truth is, no court wants anybody that joins a court as a poor person that does not have a future, something to offer, will be the sacrificial lamb, will be the scapegoat. Every court is looking for someone that's already made it. So it's easier for you to be initiated as a struggling person who is working towards survival than to be initiated as a loser, as a loose person. So the idea is not whether you belong to somewhere. The idea is for you to belong yourself to somewhere and win the battle first. So don't look at any godfatherism. It doesn't work in business. It can come when you have started making it. But if you want to depend on it to survive, you end up living in the village and nobody will come for you. Because godfathers don't stay in the villages. They stay in Yaoundé. And poor people don't go to Yaoundé. So build yourself in the village. Your whatever you have built can take you to Yaoundé. You will meet godfathers there who will just want to identify with you because of what you have become. Godfathers don't identify with people who are failing. Okay. If they can ever identify with you, someone, maybe your dad, had worked it out for you. That's why I always say in my seminar, I said, if you have no opportunity to build a network of successful people, you have to learn to build it for your children. Okay. And how do you do that? Send them to better schools. If you are in Douala, look for those schools where the governor, the delegate, the rich people's children go to. Borrow money, send your child to that school. Because what you are doing, if you send your child to that school, you are building a network of wealthy people for your child. So your child doesn't graduate from school and become as broke as you are. Okay. Broke not just for money, but broke in your social aspect.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. You know information is a form of empowerment and kind of capacity building. But bro, I tell you, this program imparts so much. Pastor Teke is just anointing and imparting the viewers here. This kind of a free online finance class. Thanks so much for this, bro. We are all sorted out, taking notes. Tell Teke we will surely have an on-campus class here in Boya. Kudos, bros, and don't stop this program till I also hammer. Okay, Tiku Felix Ndip, you say I should not stop the program. Send school fees, send school fees. Yes, brother Tiku Felix, we are glad to know that you are watching the program. You always participate on the program. I extend greetings also to Madam. This one says, does Mr. Teke personally invest to promote people's businesses which have potentials? I'm sure they do. Greetings, Mr. Liu. I went to the seminar in Douala Hotel de la Falaise just to meet Mr. Teke, but I came to know that billionaires are too busy to meet them. You have to pay. How much should I pay? I'm the chainsaw operator in Yaoundé. No, just call, Mr. Teke.
Please just call. We'll find out the way, and anytime I get to Yaoundé soon, I'll call him. I think he has spoken to me like 3 times. So we are not too difficult to see. It's just to know the right timing. Yes, thank you. So I promise I'm going to see you. I will do everything I can. Just put a call and keep reminding us. So anytime I get to Yaoundé, I'll personally see you. It's a promise.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Ngang Jo Zakari from Ede. I wish to ask this question to Mr. Teke. Is it advisable for me to save money at my primary stage of business, or is it important for me to invest it into my business? Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying this program. How comes I noticed Mr. Teke's office Tex Global in Mutengene this morning, and you are talking about his journey this evening? I pray God connects me to the text group in case it seems to be. Toa Thomas writing from mile 14. Yes, they have offices in Kumba, in Limbe, Boya, Bamenda. Yes. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I am Pastor Elias in Douala. I want to congratulate Mr. Teke for having a spiritual mind set as a foundation. Principle for financial boom. I want Mr. Teke to say more on divine spiritual implications in making generational wealth. Okay, we are going to focus on that one day. Greetings, sir. I'm called Emmanuel from Bamenda. My question: can an entrepreneur do without a mentor? Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Mr. Magnus Funui. Thanks for your program. It's really flesh to dry bones. Greet my brother, Mr. Zinri Paul, and tell him to keep it up. Okay, he got your greetings. Greetings to you in the studio. I like your program and keep it on. Ekunde is writing from mile 4 in Limbe. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu and Mr. Teke. All the program is mind-blowing. May they continue to educate and encourage many Cameroonians to grow financially. Tadi is writing from Bomenda. Now, we are going to be running up under 5 minutes. But the journey to entrepreneurship, that is to become richer, rich in the godly way, not rich by spoiling people of their resources, not scamming. But now, how do we remove that scare, that notion in Cameroonians that it is normal to be rich, it's normal to be an entrepreneur? You do not necessarily need to get into some funny things to be rich, because many from what is going around, people would prefer to stay poor than to get rich for fear of a stigma or a name calling or something like that.
Okay, my general manager takes to bar Cameroon, I think yesterday, told me something. He said, we're discussing, and she was telling me something that someone said, and I was like, why are human beings like this? Can't they see the whole struggle? And there's something she said. She said it is high time you started understanding, taking what people say normally. Someone has called me once and said they were watching TV in their house and they saw me on TV, and they stopped watching the TV and the whole house was my name. A particular group was saying, I'm a cultist, I'm a Nyongo man, that boy that's still in Nigeria, we know who Nigeria is, and that sort of people saying that, no, I know this guy, he can never be. So they all argued until, at the end of the day, they concluded the majority won that I'm a Nyongo man. And that's what people are saying, I'm a scammer. And so these things are normal. Like I said one time, that the average Cameroonian has not seen a rich man. That is why they feel like you cannot, because they have been like this. Someone has stayed for 45 years. They have done all they can and they've not been able to get money. So where did you come from? That after 3 years, a young man like you, and you're telling us that it's easier to get money by just doing this. It's not possible. So you can't blame them. There are people that will oppose you. That's what I call sincere opposition. They sincerely oppose you based on the level of their knowledge, their understanding. And that's how we say that we have to transform our mind. The average Cameroonian is living like 100 years behind schedule. And so you cannot compare their level of knowledge with your own level of knowledge. You are 100 years ahead of them. So when they say all these things, all you have to do is have mercy on them and look for a way to try to put in the knowledge. But if it's not going through, look for people who are ready to learn. Because truth is, you can prove yourself by the result you produce. So instead of wasting too much time trying to defend yourself for the names justify for the names they are calling you, just go ahead and produce the result. With time, they will identify with you, because result is what pays.
Okay. Augustine, writing from Gabon, says, hello, Mr. Kum, good evening. Your programs are good. I want to thank Pastor Teke Samuel for giving himself to develop entrepreneurs. The church is one of the place that needs you more. Thanks. God bless you all in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Pastor Awa Benjamin, writing from Gabon. Hello, Mr. Leo. Please, I want Mr. Teke to throw more light on how to sell business. Thank you. I'm Augustine. No, it's Augustine who is writing from Gabon. Prosper, writing from Benin, says, great program there, Mr. Kum. I'm enjoying the program. Thank you very much. I'll take a few messages and then we end it for tonight. Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening again. I wanted to ask Mr. Teke if Tex Global invests in people business, or you have to invest in Tex. I said yes, it's possible. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Dionne, writing from Douala. I want to thank Mr. Teke for his wonderful book, The Billionaire's Mindset. I'm really inspired by the book. My only problem now is which business to start in Douala. Please, Mr. Teke, advise me. Oh, look for opportunities around. Where are you living? Yes, good evening to you all in the studio. It's Jordan from Kumba to Limbe. My problem is that I don't have a steady job, but I still manage to earn some money, but I can't save this money to start up a business on my own. That is all. Thank you for the program. God bless you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love the program. Teke Listaff, writing from Yaoundé. We have to end here, unfortunately. Mr. Buji, thank you for coming.
It's been a pleasure, and it's always wonderful sharing with our amazing audience out there. And they keep improving, they keep contributing, and I can feel good. I will say this quick one: if you have not got your copy of The Billionaire Mindset, I think that's where your journey to entrepreneurship should start. Pick the copy. You are going to have Mr. Teke's complete story, because when he writes, he writes his story within the lines, and it's going to inspire you to take actions towards your journey if you really want to make a difference in life.
Paul, from the moment I see you want to put some money into action and you want Mr. Teke's advice, please can you just call the numbers on your screen? Thank you, Mr. Niba, for coming.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leo. I think it's always a pleasure for me to be here. This is the right time that we should be coming up with more discussions like this. Some of us grew up without ever having an opportunity to hear people discuss this, not to talk of people of our age. And I think that my Media Prime is doing the right job. I'm so happy for the contributions that are coming. Let's keep building each other, and certainly we are going to leave a legacy for the community that is coming after us.
Mr. Teke, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leo, and my Media Prime. I think we're doing well, and I pray that all of these things we're discussing, our viewers are going to take it seriously. And yes, let's see how in the next 3, 4, 5 years we're able to change the state of our country, because it's a responsibility, and we have to take it as an individual responsibility to change our community and to change our country. Together, we can make it work, and we can change the state of Cameroon. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, believe in people, Don't buy it in the market. Somebody cannot be speaking so well, talking so much intelligence, and you think that he's succeeding because of some other things. Please, just build yourselves up, and you'll be able to do what he does. We want to thank you all who took time off to watch the program, and to the production team. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Preparing to study abroad for your post-secondary or postgraduate studies? Stand a chance to win a $1,000 or $500 tuition fee scholarship. Attend the Harvest Field Education Virtual Fair on Saturday, the 1st of May from 4 to 8 p.m. West Africa time. Meet reps from top institutions in Canada, the UK, Ireland, and the USA. Chat, download their materials, and upload your credentials for immediate assessment. Access is free, but registration is compulsory. Visit harvestfieldedu.vfairs.com to register now. You will receive a confirmation email with your login details to join us from the comfort of your home. Harvest Field Education Services, your best guide to studying abroad. Email harvestfieldedu@yahoo.com.
Psalms 51 verse 10 says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." Yes, it's on that note we get to tell you welcome to another spirit-filled edition of your favorite choral gospel music program, Sing It, where we get to come alive with music. And when we talk about coming alive with music, what other beautiful way can we start the program than with these very beautiful, dynamic people, the African credo, singing us nothing but just splendid choral gospel music. Enjoy.